And we have Dr. Amy Diaz from Indiana University Northwest. We have Dr. Ronald Ramirez from California State University, San Marcos, and Dr. Kenneth Christensen from Illinois Institute of Technology, right here in Chicago. So I want to get it started with, we're kind of in this room. We look in this room here, and we see, at least I see, a lot of people that look like us, but we all have a story. And so what we're really going to talk about today is Hispanic-Serving Institutions and how we're the engine for the innovation economy for this room. And but I want to start a little bit about why, like, where you come from, like, how do you become a doctor? And what about and why Indiana University, and what are the demographics there? No.
Test. All right, so you want to know my background. So again, I'm Amy Diaz. And so I'm Mexican-American, I'm Chicana, right? I am from the south side of Chicago, specifically South Chicago East Side area, which is the 10th Ward for Chicagoans, know where that is. That's the original like immigrant Mexican neighborhood, right, in Chicago. And my family came here to work in the mills. So my grandfather, he was in the furnace, those girders in Sears Tower and John Hancock. Yes, I'm still calling it Sears Tower and John Hancock. He worked on those. So I am a first generation college graduate, but I'm also a first generation high school graduate, right? So that is, one of my great grandmothers, she, didn't go beyond a second grade education. She was, functionally illiterate. And so for me, right, that's my why, right? I know what agency and social economic mobility, comes from education, but also I'm the oldest Mexican daughter, right? And so that really defines who I am and how I move in life. It defines my leadership. And so because of that, I have a responsibility, and that is why I'm so invested in being representative for Latinos.
Can you tell us a little bit about Indiana University and demographics?
Certainly. So Indiana University is situated in Gary and serves Northwest Indiana. So it's approximately 30 miles from Chicago. And we became an HSI in 2020, right? We serve over 3,000 students. 28% of those students are Latino. 50% of those students are historically minoritized students of color. And that's a pretty significant demographic in terms of Indiana. And I will tell you, in comparison, there's 30 some, right, HSIs in Illinois. And in Indiana, I believe there's only 2 public HSIs, right? My colleagues at Purdue Northwest are in the room. They're the other public serving HSI. I think there's only 4 in the whole state, even though 55% of the growth in Indiana in the past year was Latino.
How about in San Marcos, California, near San Diego?
Yeah, so we're in North County, San Diego, but for myself, Ron Ramirez, I'm originally from California in the Central Valley. So my grandparents came over around the 1920s and settled in the area and worked the fields up and down and by the border, depending upon the season. And the one thing about on my dad's side of the family, they pushed education. On my mom's side, we're part Native American, so we're from the hills of Fresno. Didn't get a chance to go to college, but on my dad's side, the ones from Mexico stressed higher ed as a way to advance themselves and their family. And so my dad and 2 of his siblings, his brother and sister, went to Fresno State. California State University system, its mission in the state is to educate really the masses. The UCs are the research graduate education. And so it was through Fresno State. My dad would tell me this story. He got a 2-year degree and couldn't find a good job to support my mom and my sister. at the time, and he would work at a packing house at night, and he had to get a better way of life, and so he went to Fresno State. He'd work at night, and he showed me the other couple months ago how he would sleep in a parking lot before his classes after his work. And so it's through this Cal State system that our family was able to advance. I went to Fresno State, so did my sister, so did several cousins. And I went on from there. I worked professionally as an electrical engineer. I got my MBA and worked in corporate finance. And then for some reason, I went to get a PhD. So I went off to Colorado for 2 years, or for 20 years, sorry, not 2, but 20, serving a non-traditional set of students. And as I get to the tail end of my career, I wanted to do it back in my home state, serving the system that has given so much to my family and to the state itself. So that's why I'm at Cal State system. Now, Cal State San Marcos were recently ranked in 2022 as the #1 university in the nation out of 1,400 universities to have social mobility impacts on students. And so we're over 50% of our students are first-generation students, and about 51% are Hispanic. And so that fits, where I want to serve, and that's my motivation.
And a fun fact, we have a CEO leader of Canela Media that is a graduate of Cal State San Marcos.
Right, an alumna of Cal State San Marcos College of Business. That's right.
That's right. So Kenneth, Dr. Kenneth Christensen, tell us your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a large Hispanic family in northern New Mexico, a family of teachers, my mother, father, sister, aunt, cousins. So education is in my blood. I went to a minority-serving institution, University of New Mexico, part of Mountain West Conference like Fresno State. And that really was my launching pad. And I absolutely credit the minority engineering program there, the support that they provided for student success for people like me with my background. They nurtured me and helped me understand what graduate school could do for me. And so I really credit them for setting me on my path. Otherwise, I'd probably be teaching high school like my dad. Instead, I've been teaching college students for a couple of decades now. So education is foundationally important to me. I see it in my own family and the social mobility that comes with particularly a degree in technology fields. I've been at a number of universities. The U of I in Urbana-Champaign is where I did my PhD, and I got my start. I spent some time on the faculty, Notre Dame more recently, where I grew into academic leadership, and then I joined Illinois Tech almost 4 years ago. For those of you that don't know anything about Illinois Tech, it was founded on a mission in 1890 of providing access to education for people from all walks of life. And at that time, it meant the children of the meat packers and steel workers on the south side of Chicago. Okay. And we still are committed to that mission. The student cross-section at Illinois Tech is at the undergraduate level, 40% first generation, 40% Pell eligible. It really shows the socioeconomic cross-section of our predominant student base. Only 5 years ago, we had 12% Hispanic students. And as of last fall, it was 24.5.
Oh, God.
And this fall, it will be probably 28 because the incoming classes are over a third Hispanic now on a consistent basis. Okay. And so we're an institution that prides ourselves.
You've got a little hand in that too.
Well, I take great pride in it. And that's the reason why I'm at Illinois Tech. It sort of brings me, you talked about full circle. And this brings me full circle back to my own education and the impact that it had on me, and being at a place like Illinois Tech that is known for that social mobility and really supporting students from very diverse, sometimes challenging backgrounds, and building pathways to success, which means graduation and a great job. And so we're just so proud to be having a hand in the mission of growing the tech ecosystem in Chicago and beyond. And tackle AI, we have the students that you need to hire to do the things you want to accomplish. So.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads me into the next question. I've had a chance to work a lot with IIT and San Marcos, a little bit less with Indiana U, but we're gonna make something happen there. But to your point, what do you see that opportunity of connecting and building bridges to what you're hearing here in this room, these entrepreneurs that are coming up with ideas, coming from somewhere? How does the HSI become or are they the engine for putting people into this room and creating great products? Amy, let's start with you.
Well, the answer is resoundingly yes, right? We're the engine. So to bring back to your point, right? You look in the room and, you see a lot of people that look like us. And I think that is so first of all, representation matters, and I mentioned that earlier. So to answer your question, I need all of you, right? I need all of you to also show up and be that representation so that folks can see themselves, so that it mitigates imposter syndrome to the point that, it doesn't exist. Other ways, right? Incubators, accelerators. There's opportunities there. I think of something like a Shark Tank or micro grants, right? A lot of those opportunities that we're in a room full of entrepreneurs that can, work with our very talented students, and they can see how successful you are, and then they can imagine and dream that they too can be that. And I think that that's really a very important message that our students need to receive. They need to see themselves in you. It is so important.
Yeah, and I know at San Marcos there's kind of a Shark Tank process. I know that I'm going to actually go talk in a couple of weeks to you guys, but can you tell us a little bit about that and the ideas that come out of that?
Yeah, so I'd say you can think of two major ways to get involved with universities to help this effort. So the first would be on the education side. And that's where Guillermo's going to come talk in the leadership class so that students do see Hispanic leaders, people like them, and so they can feel inspired. And whether it's your leadership or some knowledge you might have, I think one thing was a point made earlier is that, we're all talking about AI and whatnot, but sometimes it comes down to really the fundamentals. So don't forget to also help out with, you engineers out there or business leaders. We need those skills because at our level at San Marcos, for instance, we're 97% undergraduate. We're trying to give them a foundation of knowledge. So there's still support needed there. And the second way to get involved is through things like our Innovation Hub. We provide an ecosystem for student entrepreneurs to learn about entrepreneurship and also to undertake some activities. So let's say some ideation activities or in these pitch nights. And so you can get involved in that. And we also have things like seed funds. We have seed funds around underrepresented groups or even veteran groups. We just started a new veteran seed fund. And so that's also very important because we need to help the students get a start. And so that's a way you can help.
Thanks. And I think you were kind of alluding to like tackle AI or any of us in this room, we need talent, right? And who better, what better talent than to come from, like for example, IIT is is a great gaming school, right? I mean, you have talent from how you're driving immersive experiences and AI and pulling all these together. I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo everything that was said here. Engage with us, please. Our students need it. We want it. And it's a two-way value proposition that'll have impact in both directions. So please do that. A number of things that we're doing at Illinois Tech. We have degrees in AI. We have a core curriculum. These are the general ed requirements that every undergraduate takes that we're renovating now. It will have within it basic AI concepts and data literacy concepts so that every student, whether you're an engineer or a humanities major, will be able to utilize AI in productive ways. We have undergraduate, graduate degrees in these spaces as well. From an innovation standpoint, we're all talent pipelines for you. And at Illinois Tech, we pride ourselves on making sure that our degree programs are industry aligned. We love to hear from you what you need, because we're willing to go create it or modify it so that it meets your needs. Because, you know, the most important product a university puts out is its students, its graduates. And we pride ourselves on social mobility as well. We're number one in the state of Illinois in that space against some pretty stiff competition. But it's because we unabashedly will say we are focused on workforce readiness for our students, okay? Not just degree completion, but making sure the degree matters. And so, you know, as AI becomes more prevalent, and we're all tackling what AI means at our universities, but while all of you are tackling what it means for your businesses and your investments, this is a time of great change, and universities can play such a central role in helping bridge that gap, both within and outside.
So, and I know we're running a little on over time here, but if you were doing a pitch, this is totally off script. If you were doing a pitch about building a bridge between the Angeles investor group and your organization, what would you say?
To Angeles or to my institution?
To both.
All right. So my colleague is speaking to workforce development, right? And one of the pillars for our strategic plan is service to state, and to make sure that our students are workforce ready, right? And there is no better way to do that at this point than to partner with organizations like Angeles Investors. It is absolutely going to be a relationship of reciprocity and complete and total gain for both the students, yourselves, and then the institution.
Right.
So for us, you know, as I mentioned about our student body, I think 72% of our students have to work and go to college. So we've built this workforce readiness into our curriculum, so everybody gets a chance for hands-on learning as part of the degree program, so they don't have to quit their normal job to get an internship. You know, where we need support, for instance, is really foundational support and scholarships, for instance, to support the students as they go through their journey across 4 or 6 years, because they do have other responsibilities for the families and whatnot, and they need help to get through this education program. And the second thing, again, is like this idea of a seed fund. You know, that really does help these young entrepreneurs get started, whether to be able to spend time working on their ideas or to do prototyping. And finally, we need your assistance to come in as judges and give feedback to the students and their ideas and help guide them to where, you know, something could be, you know, fruitful in the future.
How about IIT?
Yes, I agree with everything again that's been said. One place that I'll add to this is universities can be your upskill, reskill partner for your workforce. Not just hiring students from our institutions, but we can partner with you to ensure your workforce remains ready in the changing technology landscape, okay? I heard a stunning fact at a cybersecurity conference a few years ago. The half-life of a cybersecurity education is 18 months. Oh. What that means is that for someone to have a 40-year career in cybersecurity or AI or any other tech area that is underpinning society as we know it, you need continuous retraining and upskill and reskill, okay? And the market's so competitive that if somebody wants to make a career pivot, they need that. So we can be your partner, lifelong partners, in engaging in that sort of education. And frankly, it's productive for our institutions at a time when higher ed is being challenged in terms of its value, and it's tough to operate universities these days. And so this is an opportunity that's a win-win to partner on workforce development and allow us to use our academic credentials to help you.
So, so we're gonna carry this conversation into the next room, into an HSI roundtable. So I'll invite whoever wants to join us in there. But what I would end with, and I want to thank you all for coming out here, even from California, to come out here and join us. I think it's important for this room to know that the HSIs are the engine. And there's 600 Hispanic-Serving Institutions around the U.S., and there's another 425 emerging HSIs that in those universities have over 5 million students. And so when you think about that, and you think about how do we make sure that that those students have opportunities, building bridges between you all and what we're doing. Sometimes, I come from large enterprise, so I come from Cisco. Now I'm in the startup world. But I think oftentimes people think, oh, I need to work at this big enterprise called Cisco or big enterprise. It's like, no, you don't always have to do that. There's, go start your own business. Go, do what we heard earlier with Tackle AI and others. I mean, holy smokes, you're doing great work, and it starts here. So again, I want to thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining us here, and look forward to a robust conversation next door.
Thank you.
Thank you.